What's up, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Sold Separately, brought to you by Wrestling Republic. We've got all the new AEW figures on tap for you today, as well as one New York Comic Con exclusive. We're going to break it all down. And of course, if we're going to break it down, I'm going to need my esteemed colleague, head of opinions, Anthony Ricciardi. What's going on?
I'm doing all right. It's always fun doing these. This is a unique collection of AEW. There's a little Ring of Honor, and there's a New York Comic Con exclusive. I know that has passed, but is still a very cool figure, and we hadn't had a chance to cover it before, so we absolutely wanted to do it today.
Absolutely. Let's get right into it out of the gates with a little better than you, baby. Am I wrong? Talk to us about it, Anthony.
Yeah, this is an interesting choice to do this now. Obviously, the team is no longer together. They're technically feuding on TV in one of the easily most convoluted stories of the year. But the set itself is very cool because it has obviously the matching jackets, which they're known for, the shirts, and it has MJF's Burberry version of the AEW Championship.
Right.
So it's a very cool set for one of the most iconic, short-lived tag teams in AEW's history. This is a ringside collectible exclusive. They are very hands-on when it comes to their exclusives, so the packaging will probably be top-notch when we eventually get to see what that looks like.
Does that extra fist that comes with MJF have the ring on the pinky, or am I wrong? Am I mistaken there?
It looks like it probably does come with the ring. So yeah. And it's also, I don't really recall MJF with the black arm, the elbow pad either. I think this might be the first time we've seen that too.
This was such a fun time. I felt like for this storyline, this was more fun than what we're dealing with lately. It is always interesting when it comes to figure collecting. Like, this would have been so dope right in the middle of the storyline.
Yeah.
But right now, all you can think about is what's going on currently. And it's like, oh, but if you're a collector, this is money. I mean, it's awesome. And it was a flash in the pan moment. And it's really cool. I do dig this one. No question.
Yep, absolutely.
Should we move along to the next one?
Yes. So the next two are pretty much the same figure, but two different versions. This is the regular version, an orange Cassidy. Yet again, it's similar look. I mean, it's very hard to make too many orange Cassidys because he doesn't change his gear very often. I think the selling point for this one may be the bag, which
it's an bag I don't really love because it's not the backpack.
No, it's not the backpack, and as far as I know, it doesn't come with a belt either, so you can't even put the belt in the bag. So I'm not exactly sure.
But I mean, it's not even what he put the belt in.
Correct.
That was a JanSport backpack.
Yeah, I don't get the logic of this one. I mean, from the 3D image, it's a good.
The shades are great.
Yeah, but like if you had the very first version they made of this, I don't know what the difference is other than the bag, to be perfectly honest. So this is not one of my favorite ones. This is part of the Unrivaled 16. The Chase variant, though, which we'll switch to.
Yes. Sorry. I collected at the same time as you did.
Okay, so this one, to me, is the better one.
Yeah. Well, remember, his moods are decided by the color of his jeans. But I've said it first.
I believe this is a Chase variant, unless it's two entirely separate figures. I interpret it as this is the Chase, based on what I could see on ringside. But this one obviously has the right backpack, and this one does show the belt. So I don't know if the other one comes with the belt or not. I wish I was better informed on this one.
Yeah, the tote bag,
but
isn't enough.
But realistically, like, if you were getting them, the black was probably the more logical choice, because if people had the blue, they probably are not going to buy another blue. The black is more what he's wearing now, so I think that would make more logical sense to do that. And obviously, it comes with the belt that he's synonymous for, the International Championship. So I mean, that's my initial thoughts on that. Do you have any on this one,
Uh,
Clark?
I mean, honestly, the Chase variant's way better with the black jeans and the backpack and everything. If the other one comes with a backpack, then I think they're equally good, and they should both come with the title.
Mhm.
Like, the concept is great. I don't know. And the other thing is, the jacket there doesn't even really look like an orange jean jacket, though. In the photo, I will say,
Yeah.
it's a little bit more like a Darby Allin jacket, and that kind of trips me out too. But
Uh,
either way, I'm pretty much on the same page as you.
yeah. So the next one that obviously Clark gave a little bit of a sneak peak for
My bad.
is that
That is
it's
my
all
fault.
it's all good. Like I said, unfortunately we couldn't cover this at the time, but they only made 650 of these. This is a Legends of Lucha Libre. I think this is a great representation of Vampiro, who has not had a lot of figures in his career. Great packaging, the coffin, and it includes both the painted and unpainted face.
Okay, so wait, I didn't realize that the coffin is not an accessory. That's the packaging. That makes it way cooler. I'm sorry
Yes.
that Anthony. No, this is very, very cool. At New York Comic Con, like this is a cool debut. Vampiro, there have not been many figures. Also, the two head scans I think are
Yes.
pretty delightful.
Yeah.
And the fact that you get the unpainted one, I think is pretty legit.
Yeah. I mean the thing is, Vampiro was a legend in Mexico, still is, but Clark and and I don't want to be speaking for you, but I think our first exposure to him was the latter period towards the end of WCW when they
Oh
brought him
yeah,
in.
yeah.
Um,
Vampiro
and,
and Sting.
and then
I feel like that was like we saw him at his low.
yeah, I mean, it was, oh, these are two guys wearing face paint, so they must feud. It's either a tag team or they feud.
Yeah,
And then obviously after this, I believe after WCW, I believe he did the MTV Wrestling Society X.
that is correct.
And then he gained prominence again when Lucha Underground came back. Came into the forefront, and then I think he's still in Mexico. And I said the Clark pre-show, I believe he is wrestling at the ECW arena, 2300 arena, December 14th, which this may air after that, but still, but he's still apparently appearing and doing stuff despite his health issues. So like I said, I think this is a very cool representation. He's a bit of a controversial figure in this industry, but again, very cool figure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you. And it's historical too. And it's our one non AEW related one. Let's go
Yes.
to one though that's crazy. I don't think anybody saw this one coming. How about a little ROH action?
Yeah.
How about a throwback to no less Jerry Lynn and Nigel McGuiness? Come on, Anthony. This is fun.
Here's the thing, like the Jazwares exclusives have been very, I don't want to say hit or miss, because most of them have been, yeah, I could pass. This is an interesting one because Jerry Lynn, again, has not had a lot of figures, especially hasn't had one in a long time. And Nigel, I believe his last figure prior to this, and his only one, I think, was from the Wrestling Figure Toy Company for Ring of Honor, and that was many years ago at this point. But to have him with the spiky hair, with the jacket, with the inside lining being the UK flag, I think it's kind of a unique Nigel to have. Unfortunately, I don't really know too much of their history against one another in Ring of Honor. That was pre me kind of watching it, and I don't really recall people really talking about their feud. But they are two of the most technically sound people that have ever been in the business. Jerry Lynn's somebody that's very underrated, and in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
Nigel was too. Nigel never got his opportunity in WWE due to health issues. The closest he got was on-screen commentator, which he did a phenomenal job with. Both guys are obviously in AEW now. Nigel still does the commentary. Jerry Lynn helps out backstage. But they are two kind of
Jerry Lynn's contributions in ECW on top of that too, like are not to be forgotten.
No, and Jerry is one of those performers that like I don't think people realized how good he was because a lot of the recognition for his feud with RVD went to RVD. But I think a huge part of the success of those matches was Jerry Lynn. And I
Yeah,
think I don't think people realized that at the time. I think people realize it more now.
I think
Uh,
that's fair.
yeah, and Jerry's a former ECW and Ring of Honor world champion. Nigel's a former Ring of Honor world champion and pure champion, I believe. Uh,
Mhm. And you
and
get a sweet title belt with this one, which is cool.
yes, and I don't know how often you're going to get spiky haired Nigel, so it's not a
E
bad pickup.
exactly. All right, let's keep it moving, though, to this
Yes,
one, which is Ring of Honor Brodie Lee. Essentially, you're getting a combination of both Brodie Lee and Luke Harper with this one, which I
yes,
think is just so dang cool. This is the precipice of the dirty tank top. This is where
yes,
they got it from, and it's awesome. Everything
yeah.
about this is awesome.
Yeah, I think it's very cool. The fact that they're still honoring Brodie, I think, is an awesome thing that they're doing. The stain on the shirt, I think, is top notch. Like if you're going to do it, that's the right way to do it. I don't really know if he's more how well known he really was during the Ring of Honor run. Again, this was pre me watching Ring of Honor, but
But he appeared.
but he
He
did.
was plenty on TV.
But I think it's a nice touch. Even the jeans have the little dirt marks on them, so I think that's great. You get two heads, a shirt. It's kind of a cool one. And again, this is another Jazwares exclusives. Jazwares Vault exclusive, like the Jerry Lynn and Nigel
Yes.
was. So yeah, I think it's a very cool figure, and it's definitely a version of him that the only other way you could have possibly had it if you would have bought a Luke Harper years ago.
Right.
So this is a cool version to have.
Well, and honestly, it's even unique to some of the Harpers that have been released because you get the handlebar, which was an
Yes.
iconic look of Brodie Lee on the Indies. So if
Yes.
you're especially a fan of the length of his career, it's the
Yeah.
only head scan you can get that look.
Yep.
And I do think that's important to note.
Yeah, and the other head also has like the bandage above the eye, which I think is a
Right.
nice little
Which is
touch.
great. It's great. It's
Yeah.
iconic. And I mean, it is whatever. It's Thursday right now, but you know what that means. Shout
Yeah.
out Brodie Lee. What a
Yep.
legend. Absolutely. Let's move to the next one though.
Yep.
We've got the Switchblade. We've got Jay White. We've got him in AEW. I love one thing and one thing about this in particular, Anthony. The amount of hands. They got it right. They've got every
The
hand
bang bang.
signal,
Yeah.
every hand signal you could possibly give. You've got the choice.
I mean, listen, at least two of those hand signals you've given me multiple times.
Yes.
But yeah, so he's got the bang bang hands. He's got the SoCal hands, as I call them. And the packaging's awesome. You know that it's the the blade in the middle you could see through to see the
Yep.
figure, which I think is cool. The goatee is the only thing on this where I question
A little
because
funky.
it looks black, but the rest of the hair is brown. I'm
wondering if it looks better when you buy the actual figure. I'm wondering if it's
Yeah.
an image related thing. I do feel like there's no way. I don't think it'll be that distinctly different.
Yeah.
I think that might be image related.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's great. It's got the smirk and it also has the yelling head that will correspond to the bang bang stuff. So I think it's a great likeness. He really didn't get one during his New Japan run when Super 7 made them, but it's really cool that he's getting an AEW figure and the ringside collectible version on top of that.
Absolutely. Let's get into our main event of the evening.
Yes.
Chris JerichoHausen.
Yes. This is an interesting one because obviously Danhausen's had a number of figures. He's had more probably figures than he's had matches on AEW TV. This version of Jericho was during one of his cruise ship shows.
Right.
And he tagged with Danhausen. And obviously he went as JerichoHausen. It's a unique figure. Obviously, it's the only Jericho you're probably ever going to get like this. So I think this appeals to Danhausen fans that anything Danhausen quasi related would buy, and those people that maybe were on the cruise ship, and want to
That is definitely one of
memorialize it,
those. If you're
and
there,
and people that just have to have every version of Jericho. So yeah, I think it's a unique and it's a different figure. Am I
All
gonna?
I'm saying is the proceeds better go to Danhausen. Come on.
I mean,
Chris,
listen.
you got enough figures.
To me, a portion of the proceeds should go to Danhausen.
Yeah.
I mean, it is his likeness.
It says
Technically,
Hausen.
yes. Anything that has Hausen should go to Danhausen. But yeah, and friend of the show. But
100%.
yeah, I think this is a unique, different figure. Am I gonna buy it? No, but the packaging and everything, it's very cool.
It's fun.
Yes, it's a fun figure.
And it's cool that it's specific to the cruise. Like you said, if you're on the cruise and you're a collector, like, you ought to get this one.
Absolutely.
Right? Like 100%. That was a great point. But Anthony, I do think that brings us to the end of the show. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. We'll be back with more Sold Separately and everything else over here at WR very soon. Have an excellent day.